Walking these streets, shadows fall, lost in a world, echoes call, searching for life, voices true, St. James Church in the heart of the blue. Glorify God, nurture all, share the gospel.
Welcome to our 75th anniversary conversations. We're here with Mark and Carole and Kristin Carlson. Mark was a former pastor here for 25 years.
Nearly 25.
Nearly 25 years.
24 and some change.
24 and some change. Well, good. So how did you get into the ministry? Let's just talk about that first.
Well, I was a boy growing up in Melbourne, Florida. I was a 10th grader when I went forward at a Leighton Ford crusade. Our church was experiencing a tremendous growth among the youth. And as I then continued on after recommitting my life to Christ, I was very active in our youth group at Lutheran Church of the Redeemer, Melbourne, Florida, as were many, many youth. And as we were growing as a church, and our youth group was sharing times with other youth in the community and participating in some small group home Bible study groups, I was really seeking God as to what He would want me to do with my life as I began my junior year of high school. And a series of events occurred. People sending letters to me from various parts of the country, all arriving at the same time, people coming up to me and saying, "We believe God is calling you into the ministry." So I decided it was His will. And so my senior year of high school, I started doing languages, getting myself prepared.
Oh, wow.
So
that's early.
Latin, German.
Ooh.
In my senior year of high school, I knew God was calling me into the ministry, and I was making preparations. St. Paul's Junior College in Concordia, Missouri, had sent their choir on tour to Florida, and they came through our city and our church, and about 6 of us from our church went to St. Paul's Junior College in Concordia, Missouri to pursue church work.
Oh, wow.
All at the same time.
Wow.
And there were several others who were also touched by God, who were attending other universities like Concordia University, Ann Arbor. And we all eventually made our way to Concordia University, Ann Arbor, where we continued our studies.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you two meet?
I'll let her answer that question. Hopefully she's got some grace in her answer.
Okay.
We met the first day at Concordia in Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay.
We were in the same class, and I had a relationship with another guy that I had been dating for years, so I had a ring on, and he comes up to me and he said, he didn't say hi or anything, he just said, "I sure hope that's not an engagement ring." And so that was my first impression of him. And then I played volleyball that year. Well, then I found out that day that I couldn't be in that class because of volleyball practice, so I got out of the biology class, and he said it was because I didn't want to be in class with him. So, and we were in the brother and sister dorms, so we were in those dorms, and so we had worship together and stuff, and so we just kind of started talking and just became friends that year. I didn't have any other intentions. He did, but I didn't. So
it was the right sequence that should happen in relationships, because we were acquaintances, we were fellow Christians, we became friends, we became more than friends, committed to each other, and then a relationship continued on until eventually we were engaged and married.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, when was Kristin born?
Yeah, so I came into the picture in 1991 here,
Oh, okay.
grew up here. So yeah, that's how I kind of got involved in the church.
Okay, so you were born here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our firstborn was Ryan in New Orleans, and then we came here, and shortly after arriving found out that we were going to have a second child, and
Oh.
our second-born son was Tim, and then, as Kristin shared, she was the third, and then our fourth was our daughter Lauren. So two
Okay.
boys and two girls.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now, how did you end up here? What's the story of that?
Well, I was a pastor in Louisiana, in Bogalusa, Louisiana, at Zion Lutheran Church, right out of the seminary. Of course, Carole and I had met with the placement directors at Concordia Seminary, St. Louis, and made it clear we didn't want to go to the Deep South. It wasn't something on our
Probably
list.
something you shouldn't have mentioned, right?
It's very true, very true. We shouldn't have never have mentioned that we didn't want to go to the Deep South. We were sent to Zion Lutheran in Bogalusa, Louisiana. When the service was held for calls and they announced Bogalusa, I thought, I didn't sign up to go to the foreign mission field.
Sure.
It sounded so foreign to me. And my classmates were all poking some fun at me because right at the time there were some severe flooding of the Pearl River, which runs right by Bogalusa. And they said, you don't even have a church to go to, Mark.
Oh, my goodness.
I think Zion Lutheran has been swept away in the floods.
Oh.
So they were just having some fun with me. It turned out to be a great experience, those first 4 years of ministry approximately.
Yeah.
And then the St. James Church was 3 years without a pastor,
Oh, yeah.
except the service they received from an interim pastor in Reverend Herman Heine. And I was the seventh of the pastors they called.
Oh.
They actually called my dad.
Yes.
Was one of
Really?
the pastors in Ann Arbor when he was in Ann Arbor.
Oh, wow.
One of the
And
six.
he said, well, I think he said, you can't afford me, and I'm not leaving my congregation here because he was getting older. And he said, but I've got a son-in-law in Louisiana that might be a good fit.
Oh,
So that's how they got Mark's name.
Mm-hmm.
cool.
So,
Yeah, I had not placed my name on a call list. I never
Oh.
have as a pastor.
Yeah.
I believe if God's going to move us, He knows where we are and how to get us where He wants us to be.
Right.
So it wasn't something I had arranged, but the Lord worked through Carole's dad and through the congregation here. Call was extended after a phone interview, and I came for a visit. And that's when I picked up the USA Today newspaper. And we were either en route here or on the way back when I picked up the paper that said on the front page, Marion Giants, #1 high school team in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, well, this could be a sign,
Yeah.
especially since I love basketball so
Yeah.
much. Coming to a state like Indiana was perfect in respect to my love of basketball.
Yeah.
So I went into the shower after 3 weeks of deliberation. It was the day to announce, and I stood in the shower, and my tears were flowing as profusely as the water through the shower.
Wow.
And I knew God was telling me, you need to be in Marion, Indiana, and not in Bogalusa, Louisiana.
Wow.
I didn't cry about leaving there. I'm like, yes, we're getting back to the Midwest.
We're getting rid of cockroaches and a stinky paper mill town. We're coming to Indiana.
We adopted our children in Marianna, Florida, which is just south of the Alabama border. And it basically is an extension of Alabama. And it is different.
Yeah.
It is a very, different part
different.
of the country. That
Yes, it is.
is for sure. I saw things I thought I'd only seen in movies before. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, but really nice people. I mean,
Yes.
people just are bent over backwards to be kind to you, and good food. Good food.
Mhm.
Yes, we miss that part of Louisiana. Fresh
Yeah.
seafood all of the time, and yes, the carry-in dinners, as they called them in Bogalusa, were out of this world. All these different foods that you don't get anywhere else.
Yeah. So now, what are some things that, Carole, you did in the church while you guys were here?
Well, I think initially it was just teaching Sunday school. And then after I had Lauren, and our youngest, and she was about a year and a half, Kristin was getting ready to come into the preschool at 3. Okay. And they had an opening for an aide. It was like 2 mornings a week, Tuesday and Thursday morning. And Karen Goey was teaching, and we were neighbors. And so we used to walk together all the time. She's like, so she told me about it. Of course, I heard about it because we were going here. But so I thought, well, it would be kind of nice to get out of the house. The other kids were in school, and he could stay at home with Lauren I was here like 2.5 hours. So did that, started off like that, and then it got to be a little bit more. And then when Lauren started, I was here full time, I believe. And when she started kindergarten, I started full time. She came through the preschool too, but yeah. And then we had a teacher leave, and Karen said, well, we really want you to teach. And I said, I don't think so. I like being an aide. I like going home and not thinking about work. And I got the kids, and she's like, well, just let's just try it. Like, just, So she convinced me to do it. And then she said, but they would be looking for somebody else, but they didn't. So I was here I was going into my 17th year when we left, so I taught. And then I was involved with VBS a lot with Phil. Phil and I worked together for years, and I was kind of the co-director, so we did VBS. And then Becky Seidel had a women's Bible study group that she started that was in this room, so I was a part of that. And then we had a young couples Bible study with some really close friends here. We all had little kids, and it was kind of hard to pull it off, but we did that as well. I think that's about it. Can you think of anything else? It was mostly just we had Mommy and Me program. Yes. And so I was one of the teachers for Mommy and Me along with Karen, and then we added some others along the way.
So one of the funny moments was when Phil Roselle, our DCE, had decided that we were going to start this Sunday school class for the children, the 2-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was a Sunday morning offering, I think, of Mommy and Me that we were having at the time, or maybe it was just a 2-year-old class. So Phil goes home, and he's having dinner with his wife, Joyce, and with the 3 girls. And he said, Jamie is going to go to Sunday school. Jamie, our 2-year-old, your sister, is going to Sunday school. And they said, Dad, who is crazy enough to teach Jamie in Sunday school? And Phil says, the pastor's wife.
Yeah, that didn't have anything to do with Mommy and Me. That was just
a 2-year-old
Yeah, that was totally separate. Yeah.
Who's crazy enough to teach a 2-year-old Sunday school class? The pastor's wife. Yeah.
So, Kristin, what are some things that you remember as a youth group member and stuff?
Yeah, so I went through confirmation and, got to listen to my dad teach us confirmation and Phil, and got to go on the youth gathering.
Oh, okay. Now, which one did you go to?
I went in 2000, let's see, it would have been 2006.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it would have been, I could have gone to 2, but we had a family event going on during the last one, so I didn't go to the senior year one. So I think it was like 2006, 2007, whichever one. It was in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
So it was after Katrina, and when they had moved it to Orlando for that point.
Oh.
And where did you go to eat while in Orlando, Florida at the National Youth Gathering, Kristin?
Some of us youth, unbeknownst to Phil, decided we were going to go to Hooters.
Oh.
And Joyce and Peggy were with us, and we told them, we told them that they were the ones that we told. We told, hey, like, we're going, don't let Phil know. And so this high school kids showed up to Hooters, and later come to find out we had to tell him. So we told Phil, and he's like, don't let the church know. Don't let the church know. He's like, Kristin, you can't let your dad know. So we come back, and, they do a recap. And he said, oh, also, by the way, church, these guys went to Hooters. So he told on us. But it was, so I did youth group, grew up here through all of that, all the fun, crazy shenanigans Phil had us do. I know they've talked about like the Tootie Taw during VBS, and just all his secret mission. We would go on secret missions. Whatever he thought. One time we went and did like a painting, pottery class thing. So that was secret missions, always had some crazy thing to do. So we did those. And then as I got older, I helped with VBS, and I worked at the daycare here. From when I was 15 till I started college. So I've done a little bit here and there here.
She helped me in my classroom too. When she'd have days off, she'd come in and help me with the kids.
So, what are some people that had an impact on you while you were here?
Go ahead, Carole.
A lot of people. When we came when he got the call and we came, the first people we met were Joe and Margot, and the church knew what they were doing by sending Joe and Margot, because how can you resist them? And they were just so gracious, and they showed us around, and they were great. And then Margot was such a support, after we came here, and with Bible, some of the women's Bible studies she was in, and she was just such a strong force. Dale Anthonson and I were pretty close. Dale and Nancy were great as well. Trying to think who else. I mean, there were so many people. Of course, we had great friends here with people our age, Dave and Karen Aaron and the Kleins, and at the time the Coburns were here, and the Slattengrens, and we had a card group together. Eventually the Eichhoffs came, the Smiths came, the Fishers came, Sailors came. So we just had
Carpenters.
And the Carpenters, I'm probably missing somebody, but we had some people that filled in as subs too, but we were all really close, and our kids were all about the same age, and so that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of good relationships as the kids were growing up together. Phil was another one. I think I was going to get emotional. Phil and I worked together a lot, like I said, with VBS, and then of course I was teaching, and sometimes Phil was known for being kind of strong-willed, and he had his opinion, and that was the way you were going to do it. And a lot of times in VBS meetings, he'd say, "Well, this is what we're going to do," and that's where. And I said, "What about this, Phil?" No, we're not going to do it. And I knew that I wasn't going to fight it, but I knew he would think about it. And then a lot of times he would come back and say, "You know what? I think we're going to do that." So he and I got along really good. We understood each other well. And Joyce was a good support system for Phil. There's so many. Dwayne and Dottie. The Langs were a big part of our life. Norm and Dottie. I don't know. I'm sure you You're gonna.
We could go on and
Yeah,
on and on.
I mean, there's
The relationships were
yeah.
so strong. I would say that as we're looking at Jim and Karen Goey as neighbors, we were very close to the Goeys as well. We were blessed to have our small group with these couples who were in a similar season of life. The elders of the church, and I know you know what this is all about. You've been to enough churches.
Oh, yeah.
And you have experienced enough elders to know you have a very special group of
best
men,
elders ever,
the men who are elders of this church.
Yeah.
They were very significant as friends and caring for the pastor and working with the pastor for the care of the church.
Sure.
As far as the list of others to pull into the picture of influential, I would have to say Bill and Laura Pritchett were incredibly significant in our lives as well, and very dear man of God and woman of God. So many.
Carole and Moses, I don't know if her name has come up, but Jim and Carole and Moses were here, and she was super good to me as a pastor's wife. I don't know, she just kind of had an intuition, and she would send me cards of support. Every once in a while she'd give me a gift, and she, we didn't have grandparents around here or whatever, but she was kind of my mom's age, I'm thinking, around there, maybe a little, maybe about the same age, I don't know. But anyway, she passed away in her sleep, and that was really hard when she died, and they had a big family. A lot of their family was coming here, but yeah.
So,
any good stories that you remember?
This is where the real challenge lies, is trying to find the one or two really good stories, because there are thousands of stories. I'm sure you've heard about the murder mystery dinner theaters. Those were a lot of fun, and a lot of crazy things happened with those murder mystery dinner theaters. And I think about all the various different outreaches that have happened, and they continue to happen. I've often said, the true test of a church in a community is, if it went away, would anyone know?
Right.
And would anyone care?
Right.
If St. James were not in this community, I know there are lots of people who would know and care and miss the ways this church has impacted the community for Christ.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I've been involved in several community organizations, and I've had people walk up to me and go, "Hey, your church just gave us $2,000, or your church did this for us." And I found that if I just mention St. James anywhere, everybody knows the congregation.
Yes.
And they know it because of something that the congregation has done for them. It's not known for any negative stuff. It's always known for positive influences. And, it has that.
This is one of the sad moments in the history of our church, no question. The Good Shepherd daycare and preschool ministries were, throughout the county, something that people were well aware of, and we were well respected. We had such a wonderful ministry happening. When the addition went on for Feed My Lambs, and we were able to expand, the daycare came into existence. The preschool exploded. We had 110 children in the preschool program, and we had the same number, if not more, in the daycare program, and a waiting list that was just as long to get into our Good Shepherd daycare and preschool.
Some of our most fun times, though, were, and Rita's name comes up because she had integral part in a lot of our fun. And the one church picnic we had where they had biscuits, and they were singing some biscuit
song. Have you ever heard about the church ladies showing up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they were singing this biscuit song, and she had raw biscuits, and she was chucking them out to the crowd. And she was just so much fun. And then, you heard about the hair dye thing, and I was not mad at her. I told her today, I'm not mad at you, but that was pretty funny when she did that.
We went out to lunch with some people today, and we were leaving, and Rita said, "Come over to the house, Pastor, when you're done, because I have some dye waiting for you for tomorrow." And so, there's lots of memories growing up here in this church and in this building. And like I said, Phil going on lots of those trips. And I know lots of people have talked about many of the different things that we've done growing up in this building. I can remember when my dad came home and he got in the shower and he came out, and I was like, "Dad, your hair is black." Like, what happened? And there's just those memories, and all the people who, I know Karen and Dave talked about our car accident, and all of the people that came around when we had that, because she was in Michigan. And Dad was with my sister because she had a really bad head injury. And so I was in Marion by myself. My brothers I think my one brother went to Fort Wayne with my dad. I think he drove up to Fort Wayne with my dad and Dave, and my other brother was in northern Michigan. So I was left here by myself. And just the people in this church that do come around you and surround you with love and care. And Phil, he's not here to tell this story, but when I was little, he would never let me forget. I'll always remember this. I was running around church, right? Dad was here, Mom was working. Preschool, I was 2 or 3. So I was just running around church and came into Phil's office, and he's typing on his computer, and I bit him in his arm. And Phil never let me live that one down. He was like, every time I'd see him, he'd be like, "Kristin, you bit me." And I was like, "Phil, I was 2." Even through youth group, he was like, "Hey, you remember that time?" No. But there are so many people in this church.
Yes, so many memories.
And so many fun things that we did growing up, and things that I'm sure my brothers and sister could tell more about as well, because we all grew up in this church.
I think the statutes of limitations are over, and I can talk about what happened when Ann and Adam came to us, and we harbored these criminals of sorts.
But you didn't know it at the time, right?
Yes, we knew we were doing what we were doing. We had a group of people from the church go to a conference in Michigan. An announcement was made that in Baltimore, Maryland, there were some issues in the court system, and there was a mother whose son was being taken from her, and the father was being given custody of this 2-year-old child. And there was much evidence of occultic practices being done by the father, and it was something that really grabbed our hearts. A Lutheran pastor had a daughter who was a social worker in that region, and she was telling her father, something has to be done because this little boy is going to be ritualistically abused by this man. And Pastor Dave Dorpat announced it, and we were in this service when the announcement was made, and Dwayne and Dottie McClure came up to me and said, "Pastor, we will do this. She can come and stay with us." So I don't know all the ins and outs of how it was arranged, but they came to Marion, Indiana, and we had Adam in our preschool program, until he was of age that he could begin attending Lakeview Christian School. No documentation was provided, IDs, and everything was, such that Pastor Tom Canan and the Lakeview Church had to work with us, and they brought him in. And I can't even begin to give all the details of what occurred, but for a number of years, our lives were blessed with Ann and Adam here. She was an incredible Christian woman. And so one day, a milk carton turned up with the image of this, what would be a 2-year-old, now a teenager or an older boy. And someone at the school recognized him and called the FBI to report that that child was here. We received word of it and quickly made the arrangements to get her out of this area with her son. And they came, we coloring of hair is a common theme, I suppose, here, because haircuts were done and dyes were done, and we ushered them to wherever they went. Nobody told me where they would be going, so I wouldn't have to lie. Sure. But I remember sitting across that wall in my office when we put the word out to the church that we needed resources financially to help. And I sat there for about 3 hours. I can't tell you the exact amount, but I think about $15,000 to $20,000 came in a couple hours to help them. And they were able to flee. And he grew to be a young man, about 13 years old now. 10 years have transpired. And as God would have it, 10 years went by. Carole and I were in the very same church in Michigan where the announcement was made that this woman and her son needed to have people take care of her and protect her. So I remember we went up to see Carole's parents and worshiped at St. Luke Lutheran Hanover. And I was sitting there in the pew next to Carole. We were worshiping and singing. All of a sudden I felt someone come and join me right here to my right and sit down. And I kept worshiping. I opened my eyes, and there she sat.
Oh, wow.
Ann was there with her son.
Wow.
The very next day, the FBI caught up with her in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They took her into custody, took her back to Maryland. She was tried and sentenced to go to jail.
Oh, wow.
She was serving for a year. She served her time. And then because she was such an instrumental influence in the jail system, the chaplain of that jail said, "Will you come back and will you assist me in the chaplaincy work with the women of this jail?"
Oh, wow.
I can get a waiver because normally you cannot come back and begin serving in a jail until 5 years have passed. But you're exactly the person I want to help me reach these women for Christ.
Wow.
She was a wonderful woman of God.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And that wasn't a real name, but that's what we knew her by.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Sure.
And, that was a significant event in the life of our church, of course. And the FBI came around snooping and investigating. And I went home after an elders meeting, and I put on my bathrobe, and I opened a cold beer, and I began to sit down when a knock at our door occurred, and there was FBI agent Rusty Stefano, whatever his last name was, and a detective from the Marion Police Department. Reverend Carlson, I need to ask you a few questions. Carole goes upstairs to pray that I'm not going to jail. And I had this moment with the FBI agent and the Marion police detective.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we had some things in our attic too that had they searched our house, they would have known they were around there. And I was just praying that, God would just keep protecting them, and He did.
There were so many people whose lives were enriched and blessed through Ann while she was here with us. We knew it was the will of God. You obey God rather than men in
Right.
some situations. And this was certainly one that we were led to do the right thing.
Right.
Yes.
So, switching gears a little bit, I'd like to talk about Julia Roberts, Lyle Lovett wedding. You know you can't go anywhere without having that discussion. So,
I'll let Carole talk for a little bit about what happened
Well,
with that.
so I got a phone call one night, and he was at the church, I think, at a meeting, and it was Marilyn, and she's like, Carole, I just have a question for Pastor, and I just wanted to know if he could marry somebody this weekend. And I was like, well, I don't know. I said, Marilyn, he usually has meets with couples several times, and what are you talking about? And she said, and her husband drove the tour bus for Lyle Lovett.
oh yes, yes.
And Larry Chandler, and she said, well, it's for somebody kind of famous. It's for Julia Roberts. And I said, Julia Roberts? I said, you mean the Tinkerbell? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like,
Pretty woman.
No, I said Tinkerbell, but yeah. And so I said, well, what are you talking about? She said, well, Larry drives for Lyle Lovett, and they want to get married this weekend, and he's Lutheran. They want to do it in a place where he's got a tour or a concert in Indianapolis, and they're going to be traveling through, and they were just hoping that they could have it at a Lutheran church. So I said, oh, wow, I don't know. So he got home, and I told him, and then he called, and you can go from there.
We wanted to make sure of the necessary counseling that would be needed, premarital counseling. That's always important.
Sure.
I did find out that Pastor Dwight Belts, his pastor from Texas, had been meeting with them. And then Karen Bostick Weaver was the clerk of courts, and I was kind of the wedding planner of sorts, getting in touch with her to arrange for the necessary license. The service itself was structured and put together by Pastor Belts and by Lyle Lovett, a very traditional Lutheran wedding, probably even more of a worship experience / wedding than most.
Oh,
We had a lot of hymn singing that was done with traditional Lutheran hymns that we
No.
were singing.
he was Missouri Senate Lutheran.
Yes, he grew up in Texas. He brought
A
some
harp?
of his band members came and
Oh,
did
wow.
special music. Of course, our own organist Nancy Donahue was there on at the keyboard playing for the wedding, which was quite interesting to have her in that position. And so, as the wedding occurred, it was a really, really solid Christian and very distinctly Lutheran wedding ceremony that occurred.
Yeah.
And I just assisted. I was not the main officiant. Pastor Dwight Belts was, but he delivered a very good law gospel message about shining like stars in the world. And the Philippians passage was his text.
Oh, okay.
It was
Okay.
It was quite interesting. I had woken up that morning knowing this was going to happen, doing my private devotions. I had two scriptures I had come to in my reading plan. Leviticus 19, show no favoritism to the rich. And then the other passage was the Gospel of Luke with the angel Gabriel coming to Zechariah and saying, I have come from God and I have a message for you.
Oh.
So I sat in my office with Julia Roberts and Lyle Lovett, and I told them, these are the two scriptures I read this morning, and I have it in my heart to say, I can't show you any favoritism, and I'm not.
Mhm.
We are here, to provide this wedding service for you, but I have to say some things to you that God has put on my heart. To whom much is given, much is required. You'll have a platform. You always will have a platform the average person will not have
Mhm.
to impact, the world for Christ. She was a professing Christian in that moment.
Oh, was she? Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
realize that.
She, Lyle would not be unequally yoked.
Oh,
Yeah, he wanted a Christian woman, and she was professing Christ at the time.
oh.
And, as we think about what she ended up doing with her life and where she is now in relationship to Christ, that's a huge concern for me and my heart. It was interesting because someone had given me a 365 most influential people in the world book to pray through for a calendar year. She was one of them in that book. That was given to me before I ever met her.
Oh, wow.
And I was praying.
Wow.
And then this woman, who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
Here she gets married at our church after I've intercessed and prayed for her. And God, I still pray for her salvation, that she will have Christ as her Savior.
And after the wedding, we had VIP passes, and we were invited to go to the reception and then the concert. And that was crazy because you just have to go through so many people, show your pass, your ID, all that kind of stuff. And I just thought, I am so glad I'm a nobody. I mean, this is just not fun. And then we came home, and that's when we had the answering machines. And there was like 50 messages on our people calling from all of the BBC, all these places. Was she really barefoot? What did she have on? Blah, blah, blah. You know, and I wouldn't. And I told them, I said, because they let me take some pictures, and I said, I will not give these to anybody. I'm not going to tell anybody anything. And I just pulled the answering machine out, and I didn't answer the phone for several days because I was just...
The church answering machine had even more messages on it when we came in on Monday morning, and everybody who was trying to get information was told, no, this is a very private matter. This is a matter with two Christians getting married in our church, and we're not going to participate in any of what you're asking us to do. I had invitations to go on television to do talk show things. No, we're not going to do that.
And then the National Enquirer came out with pictures, and it wasn't even our church. It wasn't the people that were in our church. It was just the back of people's heads in a pew. And but then People Magazine, her
photographer or
her
press agent had
finally released
a bunch of pictures and made a huge chunk of change off of these pictures, and pretty much violated the trust of Julia Roberts.
And I had somebody offer to pay me for the film I had in my camera because I took it to the concert that night. And I said no. And then I had a police officer come up to me, and he said, "You'll have to give me that camera." And
at the concert.
And I had all these pictures of them, and I said, you're not going to take it. And they looked at me like, well, who are you? I said, I'm not giving you my camera. And I showed my VIP pass, and I said, we're friends with them, and they gave us these passes. And so he said, well, I'll have to check. And Mark's like, give him the camera. I'm like, I'm not giving him the camera. So then he came back and he said, okay. He said, I'm not going to take the camera, but do not take any pictures. I said, that's fine. I'm done. Okay.
That's funny. So I've heard about your basketball adventures.
Several basketball adventures. One of the earliest ones was when Don Welton, our dear elder and member of the church here, invited me to noon hoops at the YMCA to play basketball. So the first time I went, I was in a pickup game, and there's a African-American man in the area named Bobby Sanders. Bobby's 6'5" or 6" and about 280 pounds. Very big, strong African-American man. And the two of us collided at midcourt going after a loose ball. And I came away with the ball, and he came away with a bloody lip.
Oh.
And he, I think, thought I was a dirty player or whatever. I was an aggressive player. I'll admit it. So we collided, and he saw red, and he saw the blood, and he came after me.
Oh.
And he was roundabout, one punch after another to hit me. And I was ducking like Muhammad Ali, And finally, he came with two uppercuts into my chest and lifted me off the floor. And about that time, Don comes running in, and he's yelling at Bobby, Bobby, that's my pastor. That's my pastor. And he got these big saucer-sized eyes, and he said, "You're a pastor? I'd have never hit you if I knew you was a preacher." So, fast forward about 5 years, we became fast friends, Bobby and I, and he had his mother in the hospital, and she was dying.
Oh.
And I saw him when I was making visitations. He said, "Oh, Mark, can you come and pray with my mother?" And I went and prayed. And I stayed in touch with Bobby through the years. And eventually he shared with me that he had been baptized as a Christian.
Oh, wow.
And that he was trusting in the Lord as his Savior. So basketball was something I thoroughly enjoyed. And bless you. The experiences with our church league, it was always a joy. And then Sunday afternoons, once we put on the new edition, we opened it up for the community, and it was so much fun on Sunday afternoons. I had only 2 rules. Number 1, there will be no profanity while we play basketball here. If you use profanity, I'm going to throw you out. Mm. And the second thing is, at the end of the day, we get to pray with one another. Oh. Yeah. I will have a time of prayer with this group that comes, but you cannot use the Lord's name or any profanity, and you have to let me pray in Jesus' name over you. So,
well, I was telling
you
that we had the mayor here. He gives a town hall.
Morel.
So Morel was here last Thursday night, actually. And I was talking with him, and he goes, he walked in the gym and goes, "Oh, I remember this place. I used to play basketball here."
Yes, he was one of those that would come. We had a lot of Marion Giant players, a lot of very gifted players come and play on our court. Julius Mays would come. I don't think we ever had Zach Randolph come to our gym, but we did have a lot of very gifted basketball players come. Yes, very enjoyable. Yeah.
Well, do you have any other stories or?
Some we probably shouldn't share.
We could go on and on and on, but I just want to say that the 75th anniversary interviews that you and the other families of the church have been doing have really been so uplifting, so encouraging, and for us, so uplifting and encouraging to see how God is using you in the ministry here, and a part of this incredible church family. It's such a joy, Fred. Such a joy.
It is a joy to serve here. That's for sure. Well, anything else?
We've talked for an hour almost.
Oh, okay.
Time flies sometimes, right? I think we've shared what we wanted to at this time. I would say, unless there's one final question you have for us, thank you for the opportunity to talk about this incredible experience we've had as a family at St. James in Marion.
Well, thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate
you.
Taking time. And we will see you next week. Peace out.
Walking these streets, shadows fall, lost in a world, echoes call, searching for life, voices true. St. James Church in the heart of the blue. Glorify God, nurture all, share the gospel, hear the call. That is what we do at St. James. breaking chains, singing new names. Pushing through the night, feeling small, seeking the answers stall. Windows of gray, stained with hue, where our mission shines through. Glorify God, nurture all, share the gospel, hear the call. That is what we do at St. James, breaking chains, singing new names. Heartbeats pounding, truth revealed. In the silence, wounds are healed. Faith in motion, spirits move. In this place we find our groove. In the dark streets, hope we find. Unity glowing, love unbind. Hands reaching out,